Hello.
There we go. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing well. Doing well, man. It's good morning.
Good morning. It's a nice Tuesday morning. You're exactly 1 week out from World's Strongest Man, right?
That's right. Yeah, from the start of it. Yeah, we leave Thursday to go over and do, all the beforehand stuff.
So what's that like for you? Because it's been 10 years now?
Yep, right at 10 years.
Yeah.
It's it's kind of a tricky mix of emotions. Because there's all the stuff that happened in between. I've been to places most people never come back from. So it's pretty cool in that regard that I've been given the opportunity to do this again after being through so much and losing so much and then fighting to get it all back. It's pretty freaking incredible, the journey. And which leads to some of um, the mixed emotions now about be grateful just for the fact that you even made it there, or what if something happens and all this journey was for nothing and you fall apart on the first event. There's so many nerves and so many thoughts and so much shit rolling around in my head that it's kind of crazy, man. It's but to put it a short way, it's pretty freaking awesome. It's been a decade. I feel like a rookie again, a rookie who has all the lifetime experience that I also have. So, kind of a weird combination.
Hey, you say on your Instagram, on your post, you say you've been training for 29 years?
Yeah, since I was 11 years old.
Wow.
So it'll be 29 this summer. I was 11 when I started working out. I saved up money mowing lawns, bought a weight bench. Didn't realize the bench didn't come with the weights, so my mom actually ponied up the money. It was $22 for the weights. It was $55 for the bench. I bought the bench. She bought the weights. It was just a dumbbell set, little plastic dumbbells. So I wanted a bar, and the closest thing I could find was the broomstick in the kitchen closet. So I took the broom. I sawed the end off, which didn't make my mom very happy. Especially when I tried to lie about it. I don't know what happened to the broom. What do you mean? But you know what? I got my bar, and I used that bar for about 2 years. Well, I say bar. I used that broomstick as my bar for about 2 years. I'd slide the plates on. I had those little collars with the screw, so I clamped it down real good on the inside. I made sure it was the same distance from the ends. It was real professional-like.
So what got you into that? Why at 11 did you want to, play with weights instead of Power Rangers?
I think, well, first off, Power Rangers wasn't even out yet. That was a couple more years later. I've always had a fascination with weights. And I didn't know it at the time, but the concept of self-improvement, making yourself into something better. I loved superheroes. I especially loved, and this is funny considering my story now, I always loved kind of the anti-heroes. Wolverine's kind of quasi-anti-hero, but Punisher's an anti-hero.
Yeah.
He's a hero, he's a super fucking hero, but he's always got this dark past and all this moodiness and whatever. And I think it's funny that they became my favorites. Just looking back now with kind of what I've done with my own life. I don't have the attitude problem of them, but I have the dark history and the kind of rise up in the fall and all that stuff. But it was just something I always wanted to do. I loved watching, like I said, reading comic books. I love the really muscular guys. I had a neighbor when I was 7 who was a bodybuilder, So I would go into his garage and kind of dick around on the weights and watch him work out. I thought it was really cool. Then, probably the fact that I was bullied so bad in middle school, 6th grade. So I moved from Southern California to South Georgia in 6th grade. I was a fat kid. I had a rat tail. And I was from Southern California. So I was picked on. I was hated by the white kids. I was hated by the black kids because I was white. It was a rough time. It was a rough time. And, I was just fat and insecure. And so it was just kind of an escape for me. I'd come home. I'd go out we had a little screened in, it was essentially a fish cleaning room from the owner before us. He had a pond and a lot of fish stocked in there. So he built in the screened porch, and that became my weight room. So that was the beginning. Ever since then, all the way through high school, I had a gym in my garage. I had weights in my garage, or in that fish cleaning screened-in porch thing. After high school, when I was able to drive, we got a membership, and I was training with my dad at that time. I got him into it. He was about 56 years old. Got him started working out, and then got him into strongman 2 years later.
You guys ever compete together? Like a local show together or something like that?
Never against each other. I don't know if we ever did the same contest. I don't think we ever did the same contest. As an amateur, I don't think we ever had a chance. Yeah, I don't think so. And he competed a lot. He's 6-time national champion, 1-time world champion in the Highlander Games.
Wow.
So, and not to be confused with Highland Games. It was a Highlander, kind of a hybrid cross series of, strongman and Highland Game events. But he was a world champion once in the over 60 category.
Nice.
Yeah, he was a badass. But you know what? One thing that it taught me, and it's just crucial for where I'm at now, is age is a state of mind. I got him working out when he was 56. I got him into strongman when he was 58. Most people are like, oh, it's time to slow down and retire. He was just getting warmed up, literally just getting warmed up at that age. So it goes to show that the body will keep kicking as long as the mind is willing to push it. You just, if you got injuries or something's busted up, you got to find ways to work around it and to heal it. But that's just, it's kind of, it made its impact on me so that I knew, I always had this feeling after 2011 when I started kind of fall apart, 2012 really, when I started kind of fall apart and lose everything. It was always in the back of my mind that I was going to make it back to the top. And then people are like, well, aren't you too old now? Nope. You're never too old. The body will go where the mind takes it. And thank you to my father, Pops Ortmayer. He taught me that. He instilled that in me.
Well, you're what, 38 now? 39?
39.
39? Yeah,
Yep.
Mark Felix was 37 at his first Worlds.
Who?
Right? Mark Felix. I'm pretty sure he didn't start strongman until he was 37.
That sounds about right.
Nick
Yeah.
Best around the same age. Ode Haugen.
Nick was, God, Nick's like 14 years older than me or 13 years older than me, something like that. I remember him at his second, I think it was the second contest. It was a Pro-Am in 2005. I think that's correct. Maybe it was 2006. But anyway, he was just getting started in strongman. I think he was already at or close to 40.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the difference with him is he was already a champion in powerlifting.
Oh, yeah. He was strong as shit.
Yeah, he still is.
I met him at. He broke my amateur deadlift record. And I gave him shit. I was like, look, if you're going to break my record, break it. None of this 1 kilo or 5 pound bullshit. break the damn record. So my record was 7:45. He pulled 8:05. I'm like, all right. You got it, man. I'll take that. You win.
And now 16 years later, I think he just tore his lat pulling 821.
820, yeah, something.
Yeah, at the Kern. It's ridiculous the kind of crossover athlete he is between powerlifting and strongman.
But you know, he's another one. It's age is a state of mind.
Yeah.
He says age is a number, but it's a state of mind. It's a state of mind, and he is young at heart. And if you live like you're young at heart, and you live and breathe that day in and day out, you'll stay young so much longer, so much farther into your life than someone who's like, oh God, I'm already 40, and they stress about it. But look, I'm looking forward to my 40s because my 30s were rough. My 30s were fucking terrible. The first half, anyway. So I'm really looking forward to being done with my 30s. I think 40s are going to be pretty good.
Well, I think somewhere along the lines of like you, Terry Hollins, Misha Shivlikov, you're going to be fun at Masters World's Strongest Man for the next 5-10 years.
I hate when people bring that up. I don't even want to admit it, but yeah, I think I want to do that because it's all the old guys. You know, it's that same class that I kind of went through school with.
Yeah.
You know, I would love to compete with them. I'd love to go head to head with Zydrunas again. And
yeah, the fact that he's held that log record for 16 years now, just 2005, I think is when he first said it.
Raymonsburg Manis is the only person who has held the log record briefly with like a 192 kilo or something, or 190 kilo. Maybe it was even like 185. But ever since then, Zydrunas has had it. I think he had it, I think Sven Carlson had it at around 182 or 185 kilos.
Yeah.
Then maybe Zydrunas took it, then Raymond's took it, then Zydrunas just said, fuck all of you, and kept adding 2.5 kilos every time he did it.
Yeah, what was it? Kazmaier, Reeves, then Carlson, then Ramus, and then
I don't know if Zydrunas was in between Sven Carlson and Raymond's. I don't know if he was, or if he was before one of those and they took it from him. But yeah, once he took it back from Raymond's in that 2003 era,
yeah,
no one's ever come close to him. I mean,
well, I remember watching. It was actually one of your world's appearances, 2010. I think 2010 when your buddy Mikhail Kuklayev.
Yeah, pushed him all the way to 210 kilos.
And you know, Mikhail, he was doing great at 200. And I think he failed 210.
Yeah.
And it looked competitive until Zydrunas just push pressed it. And it was like, yeah, I just have more.
Probably had another 10, 15 kilos in him.
Yeah. He says he would have had 240 kilos at his peak. That's what he thinks he'd get.
God. That's pretty sick.
Well,
200 kilos, what, 528 or something?
Something like that, yeah.
God. That's pretty impressive. And I kind of, I'm inclined to believe him.
Yeah. I mean, I would, you know better than I do, but was he ever really pushed to max out, or was he pushed to win the event?
On overhead?
Yeah.
He was only pushed to go maximum effort if it was a rep event. And someone like Poundstone was there, or Marius.
Yeah.
Poundstone would beat him on dumbbell. I used to be great at the freaking dumbbell. I'd tie him on the dumbbell. I don't know if I ever beat him, but we tied several times on the circus dumbbell. Like at the Arnold 2010 or 11. It was like 240. We both got 3 reps. But Poundstone at that time on the dumbbell was pretty untouchable. I think he won with like 5 or 6. So yeah, Z would be pushed on those. But if it was a max event, nobody touch him.
I think it was the 2014 or 15 Arnold, and they had a 205 kilo log for reps, and no one else got 1 rep, and he did 5 just to mess with everyone else.
Yeah. That was one of the most impressive things I've ever seen. Yeah. That was, hands down one of the sickest press events I've ever seen. That 451. Yeah, 205 kilo.
So how much has strongman changed since you got into it? Because you came in with what, like the Marius era, Magnus Samuelson, those kind of guys, and then
So if we go all the way back to the beginning, when I got in, it was already going up. And this curve has not even stopped. It just kept going. I mean, it may have leveled off a little bit over the last few years. But from 2003 to 2008, I mean, that's when, let's see, 2005 IFSA had a 705 deadlift for reps. And I think Zadrunas won that with 10 reps at IFSA World Championships, or maybe 9, and Koklayev was a rep behind him. We're looking at like 705 for reps. Before that, because that was considered extremely heavy. IFSA was all about really heavy. So I'm thinking, you know, mid sixes was the reps in the early 2000s. But now we're doing reps. I think, hell, in 2010, we did that car deadlift. It was like 783. You see some contests, I think Worlds had a rep event around 800, and guys are still getting about the same. So it's gone up like 100 pounds in the last 15 years, which is, you know, the span of a really long lifetime of a strongman. That's really technically like 3 generations of strongman. It's gone up 100 pounds. That's pretty steep. That's pretty steep. But I think the thing that's gone up the most is the log press. Yep. Log press and the axle, because people have learned how to do axle. I remember watching a 2003 Super Series in Hawaii. I think 375 won. And that would be opening weight for a max event now. You know what I mean?
Funny you should mention that. Did you watch the Clash on the Coast?
Yeah.
So Nicholas Camby, the guy who won that, he went to Russia with a couple other guys to
open
compete.
With 170.
Yeah, open with 170.
Yeah. Or for you guys watching, that's 374 pounds. Yeah, he opened. His opener won the event.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was pretty confident in that. I've talked with him a lot. He's a really good dude. He's very knowledgeable on overhead pressing. And he's trying to help me a little bit with mine. Hopefully we can do a little bit more work after Worlds where I can actually put a training cycle together to try to get my damn overhead worth of shit. But, yeah, he had just crushed 417 for a new world record.
Yeah, he beat Andrew Clayton's record by, I think, what, a pound or so?
Is that all it was?
It was like a pound or so, yeah. I think Clayton had it like 187, and Camby did 190. Something like that.
Oh, if it was 3 kilos, that's 6.5 pounds. 6.6.
Yeah,
that's a win.
Yeah. To be fair though,
1 kilo, kind of like that 500 kilo and 501 kilo. Like fuck that bullshit.
Yeah.
1 kilo is chicken shit in my mind.
Are you gonna be watching the World Deadlift Championships this summer?
Probably.
These guys are nuts. They got Pavlo Nakonechny. He just repped 455 for a double. Asko Karu, I think he pulled 483 without a suit on.
That guy is, God, his deadlift is something else, man. 480 without a suit on is incredible. Karu the deadlifter, right?
Yep, Karu the deadlifter.
Yeah, he's I've just started watching his stuff, man. It's sick to watch. You know, if he's good at other events, he's going to be really hard to beat. You know, with a deadlift like that, that's impressive.
Ivan Makarov, I think his log is somewhere around 200, 205. I don't know how good he is at moving, but another guy going for the 505, I think.
Yeah, you know, I would have gotten a good idea of what he could do. He was supposed to compete in Siberia, but I guess he had strained his bicep or something, so he didn't end up coming. But Yeah, all I've seen from him is his deadlift and his log, and both are pretty sick.
I mean, he's competed at a couple Champions League shows, I think,
Okay.
or they might be Russian Federation. But
Okay.
he can move. He knows how to move. He's not just a power lifter, I
Nice.
guess. But yeah, it'll be it. We're in a new and interesting generation of strongman. I think right now we've got guys like Gav Bilton, Andy Black, two guys
Yeah,
from the UK, just enormous dudes.
dude. Yeah. 460 pounds or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah. You know, it kind of set a new precedent when Shaw started coming up, and then Thor followed behind him.
yeah.
And, two giant guys kicking ass kind of showed all the other giant guys, like, hey, this might be something I'm good at. And, well, shit, because they're just big. They got a lot of mass to put behind everything they do.
Do you ever compete against Adam Shear? Uh,
No, no. I met him. I think he was backstage at the Arnold. He's a giant dude just sitting back
yeah,
there. And it was before he was competing in the Arnold. I think he won the amateur Arnold or something, right?
yeah, you did. I think
Okay.
2011, 2012, something like that.
I think it
I,
must have been the year before he competed. Or maybe it was the year he competed, and I just didn't realize he was competing. But I remember seeing him. He was freaking huge.
yeah.
He was really big. But yeah, as far as professional level, I don't think if he won the amateur in 2012, that was my last year competing at the Arnold. That was my last year competing at all until 2017.
Yeah, I think he won it the year after Mike Jenkins. I think that's what it was.
Okay. Yeah, I think Mike Jenkins won it in 2011.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, okay.
So you've mentioned a 5-year gap in your training and competing, and so I know why that is. Would you mind telling the people who are watching kind of what happened and why it's been 10 years since you've been back at Worlds?
Well, life kind of snuck up and kicked me in the ass. It was, I don't know. I got to this point. I think the start of it was really, I competed so hard, so often, pushing through injury, pushing through everything. Like I pushed myself mentally way beyond the breaking point. I was burning the candle at both ends and then blowtorching the middle. I fried myself and I started to kind of fall apart. I had a couple injuries. I broke my foot halfway through the final. World's Strongest Man 2010. Finished. I still took fifth, but that injury really messed with me for the next year. I remember a couple months out from the Arnold in 2011. It was hurting me so bad. I missed a 280 axle, and we had to do something like either a max that year or reps with 400, something like that. And so, I went home. I was not going to compete. I was going to pull out. And my ex-wife at the time, started pushing me. No, we need the money. You got to compete. You got to compete. And, I competed. I still took fourth. I was miserable. And then, I was still being pushed to compete all throughout the year rather than do the smart thing and let my body heal. More importantly, let my brain heal. So that kind of dug a deep hole where a little bit of, kind of fell into the darkness a little bit. At that point I was taking a bunch of painkillers, and that kind of clouds your judgment a little bit. So it doesn't just numb your body; it numbs your emotions, it numbs your feelings, it numbs your mind. And so I wasn't the same person that I had been, and things were getting a little worse with my wife. She ended up leaving me and taking our son, to England. at the end of 2012. November 25th was the worst day of my life. And, I really fell into a black hole after that. One of the things that really pulled me down was I had a friend offer crystal meth, and I used it as a numbing agent, I think. And, you throw that cocktail onto the fire, it's a big bang. My life blew up. It quickly fell apart, and I got lost down that hole for about 4 years after that, and lost everything. Lost my friends, lost my family, lost my passion. So I lost my sport, my love. I was out of strongman. I couldn't stand competing. I couldn't stand being around it. I wasn't able to train people because I was so messed up all the time. So I lost all of that, and then I lost my house, lost myself. Then, one of my darkest days, I remember sitting there, my absolute worst moment of my life, no, second worst moment of my life, my lowest point. And it was like the devil came up and asked me if I was ready to give up. And I remember looking up, staring him in the face and telling him I wasn't done yet. That's when I started to turn things around. I needed to find something good because I was so focused on everything negative all the time. So I learned how to look at the world through a different lens. And it was a lens of positivity. It was rather than looking at everything and saying, I'm missing this and losing that, and here's pain and here's sorrow. I'm looking at the same exact world, and I'm finding the little tiny pricks of goodness, the little pinpoints of things to be grateful for. And doing that taught me to start looking for more of the good things. So rather than always looking for the negative things and spiraling downward, I started looking for the good things, and I started to spiral upward. And that's how I clawed my way out of hell. And it was a slow process. And believe me, when you're surrounded by people of a like mind, like I was in that point, they don't want you getting out of hell. Because if you do, that means they have to, and that's shaking their foundation. People don't like that shit. So I was met with a lot of resistance and a lot of negativity from the people around me. And I remember one person in particular, after probably a month or two of me finding gratitude in everything that I could, and being so positive all the time, even when I didn't want to be, I was trying so hard to be positive. And I remember her saying, "What do you have to be grateful for?" Like, disgusted. And that's when I knew, ooh, I'm really shaking shit up. This is powerful because, these people don't like that. I'm getting the hell out of here. And that's when they broke their grip on me. They couldn't hold me down anymore because I realized how powerful that was. And that's why I do my Monday gratitude. If I can reach a few people out there and teach them that same lesson, it's life-changing stuff, man. No joke. And it did. It took about a year for me to get out of that hell. And the real final, nail in the coffin was getting evicted from my house. I had lost my house. It got foreclosed on because I was a mess. And they came and kicked me out. And, it hurt. It sucked. It was a really sad day, but I knew it was coming. So I put all of the negativity that I felt, I put it in that house. I was like, this is my prison. This is what's trapping me. And I can't, for some reason, get myself out of this. For some reason, I was on drugs. I was on a lot of drugs. So I couldn't get myself out of it. But I knew someone else was going to. So I prepared for that a little bit. I had a storage unit. I was trying to take stuff over. I didn't get it all over in time, before I got kicked out. So I ended up having to pay a ransom to get my stuff back. But whatever, it was worth it. You know, and I lived in a storage unit for 2 months after that. And yeah, I saved up enough money because I would just, you know, drive around and find something that I could scrap or something I could kind of fix up a little and then resell. Yeah, I saved money. I saved every dime, everything that I could. I would eat once every day and a half, you know, which is so unhealthy, but it was what I needed to do so I could get the hell out of there. So, you know, they came and kicked me out of the house. That was the boost I needed. And after I got over that initial sadness and pain of that happening, I felt this relief and sense of freedom. Like this enormous weight was gone. I didn't have that crushing weight of all my stuff in my house. You know, I took what I needed and I ditched the rest. And I loved the way that felt. So, yeah, living in the storage unit, people are like, oh, God, that was the rock bottom, right? I'm like, no, man, that was on my way up. That was on my way up. That rock bottom was that moment where I was talking to the devil and he was ready for me to give up. That was rock bottom. It was also, you know, that turning point. But, yeah, there it was. I kept taking one step, putting each one foot in front of the other, one step at a time. You know, and I heard it explained once, to have faith in, you know, putting good out and getting good back, positivity, to have faith that what you put out will come back to you. It's like driving across the country at night with some old faded ass yellow headlights. You can only see about 100 feet in front of you. So the whole world is pitch black. You can see the road 100 feet in front of you. But you know there's more road, so you keep going. You have faith that you can keep going. And you may take a couple wrong turns, but you can always get right back on track. You don't beat yourself up too much. You just keep going. Veer yourself back on track. Keep going that 100 feet at a time. It'll keep opening up. Have faith. The road will be there. And I did that. And that got me, you know, to Reno to come. My mom was sick, so I drove out to Reno to take care of her. And that got me back on my feet a little bit. I started training a couple days later. That was, you know, that whole period of darkness was really from 2012 to 2016. The end of 2016 was the day after Christmas that I left the storage unit. So January 15th, 2016 was when I started training again. And I remember I could only do like 55-pound dumbbells on incline bench. It was kind of pathetic. The first time I tried to deadlift, I did 405 for 3, and I thought that I broke my back. I remember looking at the bar and how much pain I was in total disbelief, like, how the hell did I pull almost 900 pounds when I could this? How will I ever get back? I'm at 405 for 3. I feel like I'm dying. And I pulled 900 pounds or more, depending on the lift. That hill, that mountain looked insurmountable. But I kept going to the gym, kept having faith that 100 feet at a time, the road was going to be there. I just kept going. I kept working. Now here I am. Little steps at a time. I'm the world's strongest freaking man.
With your, I guess, newfound mentality, do you really fear anything in competition anymore? Or is it just, are you doing this for, I guess for fun isn't the way to say it, but like you're not afraid of losing in strongman anymore, right? In terms of there, I guess, would you say there's now worse things in life than, you know, not winning world's strongest man, but you still get to experience these things, but it's not all consuming the way it was 10 years ago.
So that's kind of I've got a different look on it. To answer your first question, I'm not afraid of losing. I'm grateful for being there, but I do want to win, and I hate losing. I hate it. What I really hate is underperforming. If I could perform to my absolute best and still get beaten, well, shit, you know, somebody who's just better. But if I'm not doing what I know I can do, that pisses me off. But to kind of answer your question, the way I look at things now, yeah, World's Strongest Man used to be all consuming. So that was the pinnacle of the mountain. That was as far as I could see was, I want to win that title. I want to win that title. And this is where a lot of guys get stuck. Just want to win that title. There's nothing more important than this. Well, now my winning the title is halfway up my mountain on the way to bigger and better things. I'd like to win the title, but I want to do it because I can do so much more with it now. It is not the end of the road. You know, I've got a different perception on how everything looks, how everything feels. Yeah, it is arguably more important than ever to me to win. But yeah, like I said, it is not the only thing. I don't only want to win because I want to win. I want to win because I want to prove to everybody who's ever been kicked while they were down and wanted to stay there and just give up, that if I can do it and I can get all the way to the freaking top, anybody can get up and make something in their life. They don't have to stay down. They don't have to give up. It's a choice. And all you got to do is believe that that road will be there 100 feet at a time and just keep moving forward. You know, because it's easy to stay down when life's kicking you. You know, I had a lot of people kick me while I was down. But that's kind of how it goes. You know, if you're so untouchable, unreachable because you're so high up, you know, when people get a chance to, they want to get on top of you. They want to stand above you. And so they'll keep you down when they can. And the only person staying there is you. The only person that's actually making you stay down there is you. They can't keep you there. That's the whole purpose behind what I'm doing now. I want to show that to people who want to give up.
And that certainly transcends strongman. That's, you know, life, careers, school, what have you, right? It's
Everybody can benefit from that. Yeah, because life kicks everybody's ass at some point. You know? And I guess part of the thing I want to change is people's outlook on it. It's like, embrace the suck. If it's always easy, then you're not going to really know what's good. You know, you're not going to really be able to understand. Let's put it this way. So most people's emotional threshold is like this. Okay, here's really good, here's really bad for them. My emotional threshold is like this. I've been way, way worse than most people have ever experienced. And I've also been way higher than most people have ever experienced. So, you know, expanding your horizons, broadening yourself, realizing that you can't have this and really truly appreciate this without having this. So when things suck, look at it as contrast, a way to make everything that's coming in the future that much better. You know, and you know, not to get too far off topic, but this is one of the problems I've always kind of had with the concept of heaven. It's beauty and peace and everything's perfect and wonderful all the time. And that sounds boring as shit to me. You know, I want the good, sure. I love that. But you need to have something to compare it to in order to realize this is really good. Because if you're always good, everything's too easy. It's like rich people who have therapists because their life's too fucking easy. They find problems with it. We're too hardwired. We'll find a problem even if everything's perfect.
that's why I imagine that's why you say you didn't like people like Superman or Green Lantern who are all just hope and good, and you like the Punisher, you like Wolverine, like Lobo, those kind of guys.
Well, I mean, I liked Superman. And you know what? I didn't ever read Superman, and like you're saying, when in the comic reading era of my life, I didn't go for those guys, and that's probably why. But I will say that watching Man of Steel, and you kind of see a little bit more of his struggle and what he's trying to deal with, and how he's trying so hard to be good. I appreciate that struggle. I can appreciate Superman more now than I did when he was a comic book superhero as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the best lines from that movie is when it's the voiceover of his father, and he says, "Together you'll help them accomplish wonders. They'll stumble behind you, but eventually you'll race into the sun together." And it's sort of, he doesn't have to be the perfect hero for the world, but he will bring people together behind him, which I thought,
And he leads by example.
right, exactly.
Do anything that he's not doing, and I am 100% on board with someone who leads from the front. Absolutely.
How can you tell someone to do something that you won't do yourself?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. I'm so not for, a leader from the back. Like, here, do as I say, not as I do. Well, you know what, screw you, man.
Yeah.
And that's the first thing I tell my clients, I'm like, look, I'm going to have you train, and it's going to be hard. And want you to know that I'm never going to push you any harder than I've pushed myself. And I realize that doesn't offer a lot of comfort, but at least I've been there, and I know how bad you're feeling at this point. I understand it. It's not just some bullshit thing I'm putting them through because I've seen another coach somewhere else do the same thing, and it may have worked for him. I know what works, and that's how we do
You're not Squat University.
it. I mean, I got to hand it to that guy. He's educated. He does.
Yeah.
He puts it together pretty well. You know.
But when he tells Martins how to deadlift 900 properly, eh.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I mean, there's a lot of things that work in theory.
Right.
Biomechanics, as people can understand them, but I think biomechanics goes so much more in depth than just having the right arch and the right angle of this and that. It's like, well, okay, these angles may seem structurally sound and the best way to exert force, but can his brain fire the muscles in that exact position in order to make that formula work? That's the tricky part because everybody's different.
Yeah, I know you went to Russia with Anthony Deal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I follow him too, and he posted something the other day about how this whole, no excuses, all hardcore, all the time. Oh, Matt Rhodes, he's here. That's awesome. But and he said something about along the lines of, if you're training someone with kids who play sports, it's not going to be no excuses all the time. Sometimes someone has a game and they have to go drive them there and stuff. And you kind of have to adapt to people's different mentalities and different life experiences. Not everyone is training for World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
But, it doesn't mean they can't benefit from your knowledge, anything like that.
On the contrary, they can benefit even more from your knowledge if you know how to make the workouts work under those circumstances.
Right.
That's where a lot of people get lost. I got some guys that can only train 3 days a week sometimes. So I'm like, okay, here's what we got to do. We shift things up. We add different workouts together. We take away certain pieces, but we make it work so that they can get the most out of the program.
That's actually because I train my girlfriend. I write her programming and those kind of things. And she so initially we had a 3-day or 4-day split because we're training events on Saturdays. And then last weekend, she works 2 shifts and then wanted to spend time with her friends over the weekend. So I said to her, I was like, "Do you need only 3 days? Because we can make it 3 days a week, but you have to be adaptable to that. I can't yell at her as as my client per se, and be like, well, you have to on Saturdays. It has to be what you're doing here and there. It's like if you want to go out and be with your friends, be with your friends. but you have to be adaptable to that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you start having to adapt too often, you may need
Yeah,
to ask yourself, what are your priorities? So
yeah,
if you're going out hang out with your friends instead of working out once a week or twice a week even, then your priorities are probably not where they should be to get the results that you're wanting. And then you got to be real. Do you actually want those results, or do you want to just have some results and then go hang out with your friends? Some people train really hard so they can eat like shit. That's what they want. I totally get that. So if somebody just wants to eat like shit, well then, I mean, I'm going to help them at least maintain whatever physique they've got, or at least maybe a little bit of slightly improving on it. If they eat like a freaking hero, they're awesome, but they're lazy and they don't want to go to the gym and work out, then, again, we gotta assess those priorities. But that's kind of, as a coach, you got to learn how to navigate that stuff. When to tell somebody they're being an asshole and to get their shit straight, and when to let somebody have some fun and relax and enjoy life.
so would you say that you've had, this might be a fun question, you've had positive or negative impacts of lifting on your life, and then what you've done with it in the past 29 years? Would
Has
you,
lifting had a positive or negative impact on my life?
yeah,
Yeah, I would say positive, 100%. Even
positive. Okay.
breaking down, pushing myself as hard as I did, even with all of the injuries. I've had 3 surgeries now. Hopefully, that's all it ever is. It's all been positive. I remember my first strongman contest. It was a week before my 21st birthday, and it was the most fun I had ever had in my entire life. It changed me to the core that day. I mean, I remember going to sleep and then dreaming about that contest. The way the tacky smelled for the first time, the way the stones felt. I would wake up and I could feel the farmer's handles in my hands every freaking night for 6 months after that contest. I mean, I was obsessed. That was it. I knew as soon as I did that, I was going to World's Strongest Man. I was going to win World's Strongest Man. That was going to be it. So, yeah, I mean, it is who I am. Weightlifting, training, strongman, all that stuff. It's what I do. It's who I am. It is probably the biggest chunk of the foundation of me.
And I guess speaking of that sort of foundational piece, what would you say to yourself if you were able to go back in time and talk to, say your 18-year-old self? So,
I've thought about that. There's the list of things that I would say, if something's not right in training, if something's feeling off, come back the next day or get it next week. Don't force something to happen if things are just feeling weird, because that would have eliminated a lot of injuries. Because an extra week of recovery is way better than 6 weeks to 6 months of trying to rehab something, or even a year. Like my shoulder's hurting. This was just a couple of years ago. My shoulder was hurting a lot. It was really aggravated, really inflamed. And I'm like, well, we're just going to do Viking press anyway. And then I rip it open. I tear the supraspinatus off the bone. And that was a full 1.5 year recovery before I was able to compete again. A little bit more, actually. And then I would definitely... the not training when something's wrong, I would say stay away from painkillers, stay away from any kind of hard drugs, because apparently my personality is a little intense, and whatever it is I choose to do, I go full force on it. There's a couple other pieces of advice I'd probably give myself. Stay in the present a little bit more. quit looking so far into the future all the time. Enjoy the now. Write a journal about everywhere you go. Write the little notes, the fun details, stuff that you might forget 10 or 15 years down the road. But then I've got another path. And if I could go back and talk to myself at 18, I wouldn't tell him a damn thing, because I kind of like where I'm at now. It's been a really hard life. It's been very, very difficult. It's been very, very rewarding and a lot of fun. And with what I'm able to do for other people now, I don't think I'd want to change anything. You know, I could make a real impact on the world. You know, maybe if I gave myself some good advice at 18, I would have won World's Strongest Man a couple times. There was a couple times I really had a shot. I was right there. You know, 2010, I was in first place when I broke my ankle. And I had my good events coming up. So, I mean, I could easily go that route, but I wouldn't be able to make the impact on people's lives the way I do now. So I don't think I would say anything.
It's a fair point. Well, I think that's all we have time for today.
Perfect.
But
I gotta go.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. I've been a fan of yours for years now.
I appreciate it, man.
And I know you saw the write-up I did on you about a year ago.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you, man. That was really cool.
Big fan. So really happy I got to meet with you. Best of luck. I'll be watching intensely, if you know, as long as Julian Howard gets unbanned.
I think he's unblocked. I think
yeah, he got unblocked.
If he stays unblocked.
Yeah. So, enjoy your vegan burgers, I guess. And
yeah. Well, you know, they'll have stuff for us, but
yeah,
my girlfriend's vegan, so it's great for her. So
there you go.
She was vegan. I got her to eat some real food, some eggs and stuff like that. So, but she still likes those vegan burgers and all that shit. Like, whatever. But yeah, man, really cool to be on. I appreciate it. I had fun.
Well, thanks again, and best of luck.
Thanks, man.
Have a good day.
See y'all later.